Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode 3 of Water Yourself Wednesday. You know what? What is the profound connection between what we think and feel about ourselves and how those beliefs affect our overall? I'm talking about our overall well being. Well, stay tuned as my co host Tiffany and I unravel this in our conversation of this episode of Water Yourself Wednesdays, and we will be right back after this intro.
Listen, Wednesdays may be a hump day for some people, but it need not be for you. How would it feel to just hit pause for a moment? A chance to refresh and re-energize your mind, body, and spirit. Let's find out together on the Water Yourself Wednesday show. Tune in as real women share their stories of triumphs and transformations and how they have manifested the lives that they desire and truly deserve.
Whoop, whoop. Hey, everybody. Hello. We have so many colors on the screen. We're loving it. Hello. Welcome back to Water Yourself Wednesdays. I'm saying welcome back because some of you may have watched episode 1, episode 2, and episode 3. Whoop, whoop. Hey, everybody. I'm Zaf Zan, one of your co-hosts here. If you're new to the show, Water Yourself Wednesdays need not to be a hump day, right, Tiffany?
Need not be hump day.
It's a day where we here at Water Yourself Wednesdays share real stories, real women, and real transformation. And I am going to quickly switch over to that side, if I'm pointing it right here to my co-host, Tiffany, and let her do her introduction.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tiffany Winfield Alexander, and I am so thrilled to join Zeph today on this conversation. We're just going to take a little bit of a pause in the middle of this very busy, very unusual week for a lot of people, and just kind of get into a little journey of self-discovery and to take a practice moment to just pause, assess where we are, and really get into a little bit of those nuggets of knowing ourselves and also how knowing ourselves can help us to face our day-to-day and to really get those daily tiny transformations that we need to master our mindset and our life. So I am very much looking forward to this conversation with Zeph because she and I both share this busy, gotta do it, can't stop, won't quit energy. and I don't know about you, Zeph, but life has been lifing this week.
I almost feel like Mercury is retrograde in 7 planets or whatever. It truly has been. If any one of you resonate with that, say yes in the comment. Even if you're watching this on replay, make sure you continue to engage with us. Tell us, share with us your thoughts. And if you resonate with anything that we're saying today in this show, please say yes or say something in the comments so we know we're not alone this week. Right, Tiffany?
I'm telling you, because if you were isolated this week, one could forgive you for thinking you were losing your mind. It has truly been a big lift. There have been a lot of moving parts. There has been a lot of shifting weather, shifting energy, back to school, coming in, out of one quarter. You've already finished half of the year. We're turning out of summer into fall soon. It's just, there's a lot going on.
Like speed of light, boom. Anyways, in case you're just tuning in and you're wondering what is the topic of today's conversations, I'm going to put this up so you can see. As you can see, episode 3 today of Water Yourself Wednesdays, we're going to talk about know thyself, right? Discovering inner strength and wisdom. And Tiffany and I, as we planned for the show, we talked about what are we going to talk about. And this is always, something that our team talks about because we want to make sure that we have the conversation that would probably resonate with many of you out there, because we would also love to hear your stories, right? Your real stories of transformations. We women, everyone goes through it. So today, from insightful discussions on our perceptions and assumptions of practical tips to creating positive self-talk and self-awareness. We will try to bring this conversation to you today. We're going to be like, hey, go with the flow. We did prepare some stuff, but we'd also like to hear what you have to say too, right? So if you resonate, again, if you resonate with anything that we're sharing on the show today, please, 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 please drop a comment wherever you're tuning in to watch this show, whether it's on social or on a website. Please go ahead and drop a comment, say something, because if you don't, then we don't know, right? We won't get an engagement. And even if you're watching in replay, say something. Typhanie, I'm really excited to have this conversation because, we talk a lot about this, right? Knowing thyself. And today, as I was like sharing it out, I'm like, maybe I should ask Typhanie this. If she's going through, or you have gone through any kind of transformation that you had to, take a deeper look at yourself. And that's probably why we're having this conversation. Ooh. So let me lead with this, right? Many times, I don't know if you experience this, many times when we're trying to go through this journey of knowing thyself, I feel that there are many mental, physical, and or spiritual signs that, signs when we have not given enough attention to our own needs, like, how do you know you are overextended and have not taken enough time to water yourself? I mean, how does it show up for you?
Oh my gosh. You know what? This is such a really great question. And I'm going to dissect it a little bit. So I'm going to answer it, and then maybe you can give me like your counterpart side of it too.
Yes.
So I think that the easiest thing to check is the physical, right? Ooh, the physical is the one that shows up the most readily. It's the one where you maybe have the headaches, or you maybe have the fatigue, or you maybe have the sleepiness, or maybe you can start to actually feel it in your skin. Your skin becomes dry or drawn in, or your eyes are sunken, or you have tension in your shoulders, in your mid back, in your lower back. Like, so your bodily structure is being challenged with the weight of everything that you have to carry, right? So I would say physically, the first things are, headache, fatigue, throbbing eyes, aching feet, swollen fingers. So the physical aspects are I think the easiest ones for me to catch. And so when I start to notice throbbing behind my eyes, that might mean that I have a headache coming on. And so I very much might need water. I might need to dim the lights. I might need to take 10 minutes and just quiet the room, darken the lights a little bit, breathe through it, and just take a moment to get centered and get present and stop all of the crazy noise that's starting to stress me out. So I would say that's definitely one of the things I notice as far as physically. And then the sleep deprivation, broken sleep patterns are also one way that I know I have not been taking enough time for myself. What about you?
So for me, and I'm going to put myself up on screen again. So for me, I can definitely resonate with, I'm having goosebumps as we talk about this. So if some of you who know me in the past, who have seen my other shows, I always joke about, hey, hashtag Zaf Goosies, because they're real. Because the Zaf Goosies, what I'm learning now as I go through, I personally am, I think, still going through this knowing thyself. And this, I think it's been almost a year now that I'm going through this journey. You are absolutely spot on when it comes to the physical part, because I never really paid attention to it. Like lately, in the past, probably 6 months, I've had a lot of headaches, and I was like, what's going on? So I was going through this spiritual, this mental, my order is this way: spiritual, mental, and physical, because now during this work that I did or am still doing with spiritual, it ties in with the physical, because like you said, why is my shoulder suddenly out of nowhere? Am I taking somebody else's energy? Suddenly I have a headache. Suddenly, I come back from a big gathering, like I'm just lethargic. Do you ever feel that too sometimes? Like,
yeah. So depending on the environment, right? I have to get mentally ready to go into a group setting or a mass setting, or like a large ticketed event, heaven forbid, something stadium size. I have to get my head in the game. I have to get myself prepared. And I also have to make sure that my schedule is completely clear for whenever the aftermath is, because I definitely need to recharge. I need to rest when I have those opportunities to be around a lot of people, especially if they're strangers, but not only if they're strangers, right? Because I think that even when you know people and you know people well, there's still an aspect of yourself that's very like on and charged when you're around certain people. And it's sometimes not until after you've left the environment. Sometimes like you get in the car and you close your car door, and like before you even start the ignition, you're just like, what just happened?
Yes. I agree.
So yeah, I definitely noticed that when it's time to be around people, I have to take extra precaution not to tap myself out or not to burn all the way through my energy. And if that's the case, that I take the time to recharge. So the physical stuff is like I said, I think the easiest for me. The mental aspect of knowing myself and knowing when I haven't been spending enough time, that's a little bit different. It shows up differently in that sometimes I may be indecisive. I may have a hard time making what otherwise would be a very simple decision, but I'm like, too many choices, I can't decide. So you end up deferring a lot. Also, my goodness, forgetting the order of things. So usually I'm very pragmatic. Usually I have a schedule. I do things in a certain operational order. And when I haven't spent enough time recharging my mental state, I do things that are silly. I make dumb mistakes. Just like,
I can relate.
I know better than that. Why did I do it this way? Or I make, mathematical errors, or, in my mind, I think that I've accomplished something or I completed a task, but really I just mentally checked it off, but I didn't actually do it. So sometimes it'll be like, oh, I didn't text that to you. I thought I'd sent that to you already. Oh, I didn't answer that question. I thought I answered that question. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here's what you need. So sometimes my brain gets ahead of itself when I haven't taken enough time to make sure that I'm charged and that I mentally have the capacity to do whatever it is I'm doing. So I'll get over my skis, as it were, where, I'm leaning forward and trying not to face plant in the snow.
Oh my God.
So that's one way that, as far as the mental, for sure shows up for me. Forgetfulness, little muddy-headedness.
You just kind of like nudge something that I just thinking about it will make anyone laugh. So if anyone, as I tell this story, if any one of you can resonate to this funny story of mental, like, oh my God, the mental aspect of, navigating your needs and knowing thyself, and when you're tired, all these things happen. For me, Tiff, what happened? I'm just laughing because I'm laughing at the silliness of this, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's done this. Have you ever had a moment when you're in the car, you're driving, you're so tired, right? Because you're mentally exhausted. You're driving, you're supposed to go like about a mile and you turn left, right?
I know where this is going.
Suddenly you're driving and you're driving and you're driving and you're la driving down the road, right? And suddenly you go like, there's no more road to turn.
Where am I? Where am I?
And you go like, wait, which town am I in? Like, wait, wasn't I supposed to be? Why does it feel like I've been driving for so long, and I'm not, I was supposed to go a mile. Have you had that? Like, that's me.
Yeah. So that's
raise your hand, people. Raise your hand in the comments if you can resonate.
So it on the other hand too, like it really does show you just how amazing the human mind is, that we can be so on top of how to operate the vehicle, right? How to follow the traffic signs and the traffic lights and the rules of the road, but still like have no idea how we got where we were going. I call it automatic pilot. And it's happened to me on more than one occasion, especially at the end of the day. I get up super early, and very often I'm on mom duty or I'm on taxi duty with the kiddos, and it'll be right at the end of that day where it's like, okay, you're driving on fumes, literally and figuratively at this point, and you just open your eyes like, where am I? I was supposed to be somewhere else entirely. And then your adrenaline kicks in, right? Because then you're just like, whoa, I just completely zoned out driving this vehicle. So absolutely, you want to make sure that you're mentally fit to be behind the wheel of a car and operating machinery.
So true. So true. So folks, if you're just tuning in right now and you're wondering like, what in the world are you watching? So you are watching the Water Yourself Wednesday show. And today in this episode 3, we're talking and we're having a conversation about, know thyself, discovering your inner strength and wisdom. And part of this wisdom and strength that we're talking about and having a conversation about is, just having an understanding of, we spend so much time focusing on the needs of others, like home, work, community, that we missed our opportunity to slow down, assess our own needs, and to just be sometimes, right? And Typhanie just, kind of shared her, when I asked that question of, what did I say? How do you know when you are overextended and have not taken enough time to water yourself? So you mentioned about it shows up in your physical, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have those, interrupted sleep patterns, right? And then there's also the mental aspect of things. And if any of you could resonate, drop it in the comments so we can have a post-show conversation. Because I know Typhanie and I are not the only two who goes through this. Can't be. So the next question I think I want to ask you this is like, what kind of things do you think affect your energy flow? Because we're talking about, hey, now we're feeling it in our body, right? Our body is like screaming and telling us, oh my God, you're doing too much. Or you're mental, you're driving for miles and you go like, oh, am I supposed to be driving this far, right? But what kind of things do you think affect your energy flow, and what do you do to recharge when it runs low?
Yeah. I think for one thing, worry is one thing that can definitely pull your energy. And I will say 2 things. Being fully present in the day that you're in the moment that you're in, helps to conserve energy. At least it does for me. And so my counter to that is when I spend a lot of time thinking about what I coulda, shoulda, would have done. So when I spend a lot of time regretting the past, or when I spend a lot of time projecting forward, what if this happens? What am I going to do about that? So worry about the future. So spending too much time in the past and the future really saps and taps my energy. And it takes me out of being fully present and being able to enjoy the moment that I'm in. Right. So the moment that I'm in, after I spend all of this mental energy in yesterday and in tomorrow, I'm here in this moment and I'm not able to fully be aware of my surroundings or take in the conversations that are going on around me, or notice my atmosphere, find the beauty physically around me, or even notice like, how does my body feel in this moment, or listen to the sounds or the music or the scents, what scents are there in the air? What do I see? What do I feel? What do I hear? If I'm so busy spending all of that time in the past and in the future, then I'm just not here. And if I'm not here in the present,
sorry, but do you feel what you just shared there is pretty much some of the description of us overthinking things?
Oh, yeah.
I'm guilty of it. The moment you say that, I'm going to ask her that.
Yeah, you don't just overthink like things to come. The number of times that I've spoken with people and they literally have this movie that plays through their head about a conversation that they had with someone, or what they might say if they go into that situation again, or what they should have said to that person that could have made a difference. Like all of those regretful kind of conversations, like so much time is lost on that. And it's not to say that you can't learn from past experience, right? You have a past experience, you have an idea like, oh, I wish I would have said this, or the next time I have that opportunity, I want to make sure that I bring this into the conversation. Okay, great. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with noticing, but
Yeah.
this idea that you were somehow deficient in not having done all of the things that you could have, should have, or would have done, or that you somehow won't be able to rise to the challenge if you face a similar situation in the future. And so now you're worried about the future. I think that has a huge impact. And then I would say, something else that just came to mind. What we think leads very much to how we feel, and
Mm.
that leads to what we believe, and then that creates what is, right? So we our thoughts sometimes get away from us, right? Where before we even wrap our head around it, we might think, oh, I can't do this, or oh, I'm too tired, or oh, I don't have enough money, or if I ask for help, no
Yep.
one's going to help me. Like those thoughts are going to pop up no matter what, right? You can't
Yep.
really
Mm-hmm.
control the thought that just pops into your head. But
Right.
once you're aware of the thought, you then have a choice to make of how much energy to breathe into it. Like, are you going to support those thoughts and augment them and give them more fuel? Or are you going to challenge them, right? And say, wait a minute, that's not true. Or wait a minute, where's my proof that this thought is a fact? Right? You
Yeah.
just have to
Yeah.
start really challenging those negative beliefs, those non-fact based things that will pull down your spirit and make you
Yep.
otherwise fearful, right? Because those
Yeah.
thoughts, if you feed into those negative thoughts, then your emotions will start to form around those thoughts. And you already know that once an emotion gets involved, it's very like off into the races, right? Once you start
Yep.
putting emotions around those thoughts, they start to breathe life. They start to take on a life of their own. So sadness, anger, regret, um, fear, all of those things start to become very real when you start
Yep.
feeding them. So we have to be super careful about things like, I'm tired, I don't have enough money, I'm not enough.
And those words carry energy too.
They do. They do. When you start saying those things, there's beliefs that come around them, there's emotions that come around them. And it's almost like this self fulfilling prophecy where you are bringing those things and breathing those things into being. And so we can't
100%.
challenge them until we're aware of them. And I always say, at very least, even if you don't know yet how you're going to combat those negative beliefs, if you don't know yet what you're going to do, the first and foremost thing that you have to be able to do is notice, become aware of when those things are popping up, and then seek support. Get
Mm.
around other people who are going to help you notice it and who are going to help you to say, you know what, I hear you, I see you, I know what that feels like, but I challenge it. And I'm going to help you find the positives as well. I'm going to help show you what you can do. And we're not going to focus so much on what we can't do and what we don't believe, but we're going to focus on what we can do and what we do believe.
Awesome. Awesome. So folks, I just want to wrap this up because we always try to do the show boom 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 straight so that we can have this out to all of you. And then I just have a final question. We
Mhm.
talk about this know thyself, and I know that you've gone through this transformation, Typhanie. So I think before we part, I just in 1 minute, if you can share with us and our audience, maybe this is something that our audience can take away too. And if you audiences out there watching this show right now, whether in this live session or watching it in replay, I'm asking you this, Typhanie, like, what is the biggest lesson you think you've learned about your transformation that you shared with us here today? Maybe some of our audiences can resonate with it.
Yeah.
And if you are resonating out there, drop a comment so that we can, go back, like exchange stories in the comment and
Mhm.
hear your own transformations also.
I would say for me, the biggest lesson of all is to allow myself the same space and grace that I would for any other person that I love or care about. And I think about how, if it's a child coming to me with help, or if it's a friend or a loved one that comes to me and they have an issue or they have a problem and they need support, I think about how I show up for them, and it's open arms, it's judgment free, It's with the heart and mind to help. And why should we treat ourselves any differently? So for me, I had to learn how to give myself the space and the grace to make mistakes, the space and the grace to change my mind, the space and the grace to learn what my boundaries are, to adjust them as needed, to reset them and to hold them, and to communicate in love and in honesty and in integrity, so that I can hold my space because I deserve to.
Yes, 100%. Woo! Everybody, this is the kind of conversation we like to bring in, add to Water Yourself Wednesdays, is real stories, real women, real transformation. We're all about triumphs and transformations here at Water Yourself Wednesday, because sometimes Wednesdays people go like, oh, it's hum day and nobody knows. We thought it would be great to talk about our triumphs and transformation. That's why we're here. So that said, that tunes in with our Water Yourself concept. So folks, thank you to all of you who's tuning in or has tuned in or will be tuning in. Make sure if you resonate with anything, any of this part of conversation, drop your own comments in the comments in any way you're watching, through social media or on our website. Let us know, what is your own transformation? How did you learn about knowing thyself? What does your transformation look like? Because we'd like to hear from you. Until the next episode, which is in 2 weeks' time in October. And I think, what we could say is thank you for tuning in. And until next time, this is Zeph Zan and my co-host, Tiffany. I'm doing that way right there. Just now I was pointing this way. Tiffany signing out. And we'll see you in the next episode of Water Yourself Wednesdays. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the show. We hope the stories shared have inspired you to water yourself. Your transformation begins here. Until next time, keep on manifesting the life you desire and truly deserve. The Water Yourself Wednesdays show is a production of Engage LLC and is brought to you by Water Yourself Retreat. Get more information about the event and community support at wateryourselfretreat.com. You can also follow us on your favorite social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube.